Hello, this is GP Columbus winner Jacob Maynard, and you're watching the final match.
I'm Rashad Miller, and in this episode of the final match, we sit down with GP Columbus champion Jacob Maynard. So, Jacob, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Magic history?
I started playing Magic, I guess it was right around when Kamigawa came out,
Okay.
and that was just like strictly casual with my friends. Like I remember I had like a ninja deck that I played around with, and then I moved up to like the northern Kentucky area and didn't really find anybody to play with anymore. So I remember selling pretty much most of my cards except for my favorite ninja deck, which had like a Jite and all like the famous ninjas and stuff like that in it, and buying Versus system. And I played that for a couple of years until it kind of started to tank down. And then it was like my senior year when I saw friends start playing again, and that's when I started getting like heavily into Magic and started going to like drafts and stuff at our local comic book store.
Okay, so had you been hitting the GP circuit regularly, or what made you decide to come to Columbus?
Yeah, me and my friends, we've been going to a couple GPs now. I think my first Grand Prix that I went to was the Legacy one in Columbus last time. So I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay,
And
so
then we had
basically,
gone to like Atlanta and Nashville and Indianapolis, all like the fairly close ones since
yeah, so
then.
you've been keeping it pretty, driving distance, no real traveling really far for any type of tournaments just yet.
Yeah, I think Atlanta was the furthest that I've driven for one.
Well, do you have any events planned for the future? I know you're qualified for Seattle, so that's pretty exciting.
I think the only big thing that I'm going to between now and then is Gen Con and just playing in the side events that they have there.
Okay, that's cool. Gen Con's awesome. I'll be
Yeah,
there, and you can check out all of the World Magic Cup stuff that's going on.
yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and start the video. And okay, so here we go. This is actually the finals. Don't
Yeah.
it'll change eventually. Every now and then we're a little slow on the graphics.
Yeah.
So you're playing against Lucas Siow. He's playing Rug Delver. And you look at your opening hand. So what kind of things are you really looking for when you look at your opening seven?
I mean, realistically, knowing he's on Rug Delver, I'd want an Edge champion against him because, like, I played that matchup, I think, twice already in day two, and he was pretty key to winning there. But I remember seeing, like, a cranioplating and, like, the two Springleaf drums, which were pretty good for, like, fast mana and stuff. So I figured that I would be able to just, like, power through a plating and then get him. I think it also had, like, the two shrapnel blasts. So, I mean, including all the damage that he's going to be taking from his lands, and if I can resolve both of those, he pretty much starting like 7 life. So,
Yeah, we
just having a
basically
bunch of dudes on turn one would be pretty good against him.
Yeah, we get to see basically your whole hand on the board on turn one. So
Yeah,
even though there's no S champion,
yeah.
you're probably pretty happy with this start.
Because I think I have at my in my hand at this point it's cranial plating and shrapnel blast. So if I can stick the cranial plating next turn, I'd be pretty much in the driver's seat this game.
Yeah, now
Oh,
Lucas seems like he struggled a little bit with trying to get a
lands.
nice flow of mana and spells. So
Hmm.
he's got this Serum Visions going on, and then he plays a Steam Vents untapped. So you have to know something's
Yeah.
going on.
So I really wanted to draw a land here, and I think I draw another shrapnel blast at this point. But I mean, like at that point, I can use both of those at the game and get them down to 7 points. So I didn't want to run the cranial plating into the spell pierce if I had to, but being able to resolve the two shrapnel blasts would probably be worth more throughout the game than the cranial plating.
Yeah, was that
So,
one of the cards you were really considering, or were you more afraid of, say, a lightning bolt from that blue-red land?
well, if it was a lightning bolt, then I just shrapnel blast the target in response, basically. But I was more worried about spell snare, and that I really wanted to get out of his hand. But fortunately, just had the spell pierce, and it still got me. But it
Yeah.
wasn't that card.
So Lucas plays a Vidalcan Shackles,
Yeah.
and your board position wasn't really threatening. And so, how concerned were you about that Vidalcan Shackles?
Well, I mean, I thought he was going to like take one of my guys like right now before I attack, and that would be a lot worse because I'd like, have to tap it for the mana first and then Shrapnel Blast to target then. But basically, I just got like free like point of damage, and then because he did it at the end of his turn instead of during my combat step.
Yeah.
So
It could be
I
that
was
he.
kind of worried going into it, but then once I got him down to like 13 life, and then he targeted it, I was like, whoa, man, he's only got like 3 now with the points of burn in my hand.
Right. And obviously, he's probably not expecting double shrapnel blast.
Yeah. I mean, I could understand why he did it from his perspective, but it was definitely the ideal situation for me.
So Lucas is sitting on 8.
So he still doesn't get his 4th land, and I think he actually had a Crypto Command in his hand that he was probably really desperate to be able to cast against you, but didn't get a chance.
We could find that out relatively.
So this is a little tricky play that it seems like you were being really cautious to make sure that you can always have 2 mana open in case he tries to take one of your guys.
Or 3 mana for the mana leaks.
Right.
That takes him to the 3, and that puts him in range of a whole lot of things like Galvanic Blast, another Shrapnel Blast.
But then you Shield Shaper's Gift, and I believe that Plating is the only card that you can actually get with that.
Yeah, Steel Shaper's Gift was a pretty last-minute addition to the deck because, like, I just been playtesting with my friends in our room the night before, and like he was on one of the Naya pod decks, and just like Etch Champion was one of the best cards in the deck, and I just wanted more ways to just go over the top with that guy. So the 4 Ravagers and then the effective 6 Cranioplatings.
It only costs 1.
Yeah, so still no 4th land for Lucas, and it turns out this double Spring Leaf Drum draw for you worked out really well against his Vidalcan Shackles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then I drew the land off the top and then made the mana leak not any good. So that was very fortunate.
Yeah, it actually helped you out in another way just to give you the mana to be able to, equip and then, or even be able to use the black ability.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you've probably played enough Rug Delvers and against enough Shackles over the weekend where you probably know ways to get around, to squeeze that extra damage in against the Shackles.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably, if he had gone for the Shackles at that point, I think I might have just been able to kill him on the spot. So the mana leak did buy him an extra turn to draw some like removal spell of some sort. But yeah, didn't he draw like another Shackles at this point, and then I guess it was all over for him.
He keeps drawing things. He needs a lightning bolt. Like if he just drew a lightning bolt, he can kind of.
Okay, so there was a tricky play of tapping the Ornithopter Fernana in response to the Vidalcan Shackles, and then just using that mana to equip your other one.
Yeah, I'd heard when they were commenting that the tap the guy in response to make mana was pretty unexpected by them.
So Lucas didn't really have a real good way of getting out of that situation.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get like a misplay out of me, but at that point I was pretty confident with the deck, even though I just like really picked it up the couple days before, so I knew like all the fine interactions between it just from like previous play and everything. Yeah.
So now we're going into the sideboards, and of course during the top 8 you guys get each other's deck lists. So you're looking at Lucas's deck list, and what cards do you see either in his main deck or in his sideboard that you are really concerned with?
I mean, looking at his sideboard, I was actually pretty pumped because I just saw the single Ancient Grudge. Like, I was expecting just to face like 4 ofs in everybody's sideboards going into the tournament, and just like having an early exit or something like that, and then I was just like hardly saw more than like 4 on the entire like weekend against me. So I saw he had 1, so I was pretty happy about that. And then he only had like a Crossing Grip and a Volcanic Fallout that I think he was realistically boarding in against me. So it wasn't like no hate, but it wasn't the hate that I was definitely expecting going into the tournament.
Now, what cards did you sideboard in, and what did you take out, if you remember?
I cited out 2 Shrapnel Blasts for 2 Spell Skites, if I remember correctly, because like he did have enough artifact removal that it would probably make the Shrapnel Blast less live because I would probably be forced into situations where I wouldn't have an artifact that I would want to sack, and then plus he'd be more expecting it and having like the counter magic available to use against me, so I figured they would be worse, and then the Spell Skites just to help blank like his lightning bolts and stuff like that.
Overall, how happy were you with your sideboard, even against like some of the other matchups? Are there any cards that you would consider changing?
The card that I was not really happy with was Blood Moon, because I mean, like I thought I would be signing in against the like 3-color decks like him, but like in some of the games where I played it, like it just did more to hurt me by shutting off my Nexuses than it did to hinder their mana. So like after like 1 or 2 matches of doing that, like I just stopped siding in altogether. And like I understand that they were probably pretty necessary for the Tron matchup that I didn't play at all this weekend, but I would probably cut down on that card, if any, going into like another tournament if I was to play the same deck.
And,
But everything else was pretty successful as a sideboard.
Is there actually a card that you replace it with? Is something you have in mind already?
Maybe like a graveyard hate card, like I don't know, Grafdigger's Cage or Relic of Progenitus.
Yeah, some artifact that both helps your Metalcraft and deals with your opponent's graveyard.
Exactly, yeah. Because I did face a reanimator deck in like round 8, and while it did go pretty well for me because all he could do was through the Breach and Emrakul, attack me with it, and then just did nothing for the rest of the game, and I was able to come back and play more artifact guys, and like I think game 2 I played Edge Champion after I drew like 3 lands and then equipped it with Cranial Plating and got him. And then the next game he did the exact same thing, but I was able to like double Gal Blast him in response, put him to 3, and then like the Vault Scourge that I kept in play was able to get it enough points of damage that I think I ended up killing him with Signal Pest and Ornithopter for the final points of damage while he just didn't do anything.
Okay, well, we're going to fast forward through some of this shuffling because you end up mulliganing to 5 in this match, so we could just skip to that. And we could take a look at your 6. Your 7-card hand didn't have any land, and you have a 1-lander here, and
then like I had 3 colored spells with no color mana in that hand, so once I looked at it enough, it was definitely a snap mulligan.
Alright, so now we look at a 5-card hand, and it's actually pretty good as far as 5-card hands go.
I mean, I definitely would prefer to have an additional like 2 cards in that hand, but it was definitely pretty close to an ideal 5 as I could get against his deck.
So you get out a Vault Scourge, a Signal Pest, Ornithopter, all off of a Darksteel, Citadel, and a Mox Opal.
Yep.
Now, you didn't know this, but Lucas kept a Island, Misty Rainforest, Triple Lightning Bolt Delver hand, which is probably as good as he can hope to have, barring having any sideboard cards against you.
And the turn 2 flip was pretty good too.
Yeah, just a blind flip. So he's probably feeling pretty confident, especially after you mulligan it down to 5, and he basically got to see all 5 of the cards that you kept.
Yeah. I think the odds that he wins this game was pretty heavily in his favor, so...
Yeah, we can actually see, like, the way that he was playing the game. He was being more aggressive than you'd usually see a deck play against the Robots deck.
Yeah.
So he's looking at his Serum Visions, and there he goes. He's just being aggressive, attacking with his 3-2.
I don't even have a real block without losing just my guy for no reason, so... Just trying to get some damage in with the Signal Pest and guys.
So, I mean, is that your plan? You know, before you saw this lightning bolt, is your plan just to hope that these 3 creatures can go the distance?
Oh yeah, because I mean, it definitely would have helped if I could have got the Vault Scourge in there with the 2 points of lifelink to erase the guy, but he just had the head of a lightning bolt, so
It is a snap.
can't really
Yeah.
do much against that.
And then he plays a second Delver, and spoiler alert, this guy's going to flip too because he just
Yep.
played a Serum Visions. So he actually made kind of short work of your life total with, Delvers and Lightning Bolts. Didn't make it much for a race, but, you're giving it the old college try and attacking it with all your guys every turn.
Yep.
I think you just let him attack. And
So do we know what your last card is? Is it a Shrapnel Blast? Do you remember?
I actually can't remember what the last card in my hand at that point was. I think no, it wasn't a Gala Blast because I would have been able to use it.
Yeah, it's a Shrapnel
Yeah, it's
Blast.
Shrapnel Blast, yeah.
So he just goes Lightning Bolt to the dome and untap, flip Delver.
Yeah, if he flips it, he just gets in for lethal with the 2, and then the other bolt he has in his hand.
Yep, the life total hasn't been updated yet, but you were at 9.
I was
That's
9,
333. So, yep, that's game 2. So now you're shuffling up. Are you considering changing your sideboard? Or are you pretty set on your game plan? Games 2 and 3 against Rug Delver.
Against his list, I was pretty set. Like, I didn't want to try to be Trixie with Blood Moon and trying to shut off his cryptic commands and stuff like that because really what I was worried about was the Lightning Bolt. So that probably did more to help him cast Lightning Bolt than anything. So I just decided to stay with the Spell Skites and hopefully they went the distance.
Okay, so we're gonna skip through the shuffling again, and I think both of you keep 7 this time.
Yeah, I know I kept my 7.
That's a keep.
Because I'm pretty sure it had the turn 2 Etch Champion, which was pretty well to ideal.
Yeah,
It didn't have a good start, but I'm pretty sure I have Mox Opal and then another land, so pretty easy cast on. This I was very happy with too, because I drew another Mox Opal, so I thought he might have a Spell Pierce or something, so if I needed to resolve the Mox Opal, I would have played my land first and been able to pay for it, but I played for it and asked him if he had a response, and he Spell Pierced it, so I was able to just play the second one because completely value and cast the Etch Champion.
Yeah, it's usually really hard to get any type of value out of duplicate copies of Mox Opal, but being able to get a Spell Pierce out of the deal, that's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So then you did get the second turn Etch Champion, which is a real problem for Lucas, and we're going to find out that really that's all it took to get the finishing damage in this game. And all these other guys, the support and cast, they're there to make sure the Etch Champion stays around, and the Overseer, if he gets a counter or 2, that's just gravy.
Yeah.
So are you considering because he actually sideboarded in Volcanic Fallout, which is going to happen, I think not this turn but the next turn during your attack.
Yeah.
So did you not think he was bringing that in, or were you just...
I was pretty sure that he was bringing it in, but either getting the 1 counter on the Etch Champion or he just does it now and can't get my land. I figured I was in a pretty good situation to get him. So I think I did have the 1 Shrapnel Blast that I had still in my main board in my hand at this point as well.
Yeah, I think you do have a Shrapnel Blast, because that was... Yep, I think you just flashed Shrapnel Blast. So this is where you're going to just activate your Blink Monster and attack with all your guys. And Lucas, I think were you kind of smelling the Volcanic Fallout when Lucas played his Stomping Grounds untapped, or are you just thinking maybe he wants to be able to play another Lightning Bolt this turn?
I figured either way I was in a pretty good situation, because if he does have it, I think he goes to 6, and if he doesn't have it, I'm pretty sure he's just about dead with the Shrapnel Blast in hand.
Right, the 5 from the Shrapnel Blast, 3 from the Etch Champion, and then the 2
from the Fall, yeah.
So I think he does go pretty low. I think he goes down to 6, which means he's on a 2-turn clock from a creature with protection from all colors. Now we're
and then
actually,
I have 4 artifacts for the metal craft.
yeah.
So,
He basically needed his one ancient grudge,
and then a lightning bolt
yeah, and
with the
something
4th
else.
land to cast it. Yep.
So Lucas is drawing to very few options. He only has a couple of sequence of events that can win in the game. So, in your mind, are you thinking this? I'm about to win this Grand Prix, or are you still just staying in the moment right now?
I was still staying in the moment at that point because I mean I knew he had some number of outs to still be able to like interact with the Edge champion, but like I think it really sunk in after I had swung in and like he had untapped for his turn and it was just sitting there for like a minute or two. That is like I don't think he has any answers. I think this Edge champion's going to turn sideways next turn and win me the game.
Yeah, so he plays the 4th land, which is integral to being able to get out of this situation in any way. But he still needs to have an exact sequence of cards, and he
Well, I
actually
mean, at
has
this
the
point,
ancient.
yeah, with the Vault Scourge and then the untapped Inkmoth Nexus, I don't even think that play works anymore because, like, any event, I'm pretty sure I can just tap the Inkmoth for Nexus and then animate it, and then it'll turn the Metal Craft on in response.
Right, he was actually like a turn behind on all the cards he drew. If he had that ancient grudge last turn, it would have been a lot better for Lucas. And I think he draws into a Crossing Grip, which, you know, costs 3, but doesn't do anything right now, unfortunately. So he's going to just start digging just to see if he can find anything. And there's the Crossing Grip.
Yep.
But he needs that's 3 mana. That costs 3 mana.
So, and I know he's trying to figure it out because he can cast, you know, Lightning Bolt or Grudge, and get rid of some of your guys in your land, but you still end up having the Edge champion and exactly 3 artifacts so that you can attack for 3.
Yep.
And I think it takes Lucas just a little bit to figure out that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
So now how you're feeling? Are you thinking
Now, I
you
mean,
win this?
I'm feeling really good. Like, I just can't think of any situation where he just does something that's not going to make my guy to attack. Because he did have, like, the play where he could tap all my guys with Cryptic Command before he tapped the land, but at that point I was like, I think I got it.
Yeah, and there you go. He offered the hand, and there you are. Congratulations, you are the GP champion. And who was that? Who was your buddy that came and gave you a hug?
That was my friend Kirk. I think he was pretty integral to my success that day as well, because he had just come up on Saturday, and then once I made day 2, he decided to stay the night as well at our hotel room, and he definitely kept me in pretty good spirits throughout the day.
So I do want to thank you for being here for this interview, giving me some of your valuable time, and you will be at Seattle, I'm assuming. So
I'll probably book the hotel room as soon as they announce the location for it.
So again, congratulations to Grand Prix Columbus champion Jacob Maynard. This is Rashad Miller signing off, and I'll see you the next time we sit down and watch the final match.